you're not doing wrong to others by eating a piece of cake. Letting food control your entire life is extremely exhausting. I don't have to eat oatmeal. Food has always just been something I struggled with, and now I finally feel as though it's not something I struggle with anymore. Eat very intuitively, eat what I want when I want, in the portions I want, and this is the best I've felt in my entire life. So, if that's something that you want for yourself, then make sure you keep watching. Okay. The first thing I recommend you stop doing is dieting or restricting. So for me, this was one of the worst things that I was doing because first of all, it just makes you think about food more. It makes you think about the food that you can't have even more. And this is eventually what led me to start binge eating. Constantly in my mind, it was like, you can't have this, you can't have this, you can't have this. And then I would have it, but I wouldn't only have it, I would have the whole thing. So actually right here, I have this box of protein bars, which I do work with Misfits. If you've been following me on YouTube actually since like 2020, I've been eating these things since then. So the fact now that we have a code is quite spectacular. I wouldn't have been able to have this box of protein bars in my room because I would have eaten all of them. I couldn't just eat one, I had to have all of them. And now like I legit can have one and be fine. The biggest trigger for me used to be if I wanted to taste something. So there's multiple flavors in this box. I would have to taste one of every kind, but then I would eat every single one of them and I would feel out of control. Also, if you're not following me on the other social medias yet, I'll put them on the screen. Yesterday though, I was doing like a little taste test for a video and I was able to only eat a bite of each one and I was fine. And something like that used to be something I could have never done. So you gotta stop restricting, stop saying things are off limits, because when you do that, it's gonna make you want them even more. Deep down, we're all still like children and we all want what we can't have. And that is just the truth. Also, I never ever do my hair. Only did it for you guys. You better be. But it's so humid here that like it's not staying straightened extremely. It just gets extremely puffy because I naturally have curlier hair. I just don't actually take care of it like I should. So yeah, okay. The next thing we got is stop calling foods good or bad. I cannot stand this because y'all, food does not have morals. Food does not have morals. I ain't ever seen a piece of cake go and shoot somebody because it doesn't. Like, there's gonna be vegans and people that have dietary preferences that tell me that there are good or bad foods. Like, I have had vegans in the comments tell me that, yes, chicken is bad. I'm like, no. You can say that it's a bad reason to eat a food, but the food itself is not bad. There is no food that is worse than disordered eating, in my opinion, as somebody that almost DIED'd from it. Okay? Somebody that almost unsubscribed from life willingly because I thought that these foods were worse for me than my own disordered behaviors. So, whenever you view foods as good or bad, you will only eat the good foods. And of course, then it's gonna lead to you restricting the bad foods, and then usually you will binge eat on those. Even if you just have the bad food, you will feel shame. Like, for why? There is no reason to feel shame for eating a piece of cake. There is no reason to feel shame for eating a banana. Like, I know that many people are literally afraid of bananas. Like, why are we afraid of bananas? That is bananas. Cheers to that. And of course, I'm drinking the Alpha Line Women's Supplement. Y'all, I swear this stuff has crack in, or I can't say that. Okay, next. Okay. The next thing is don't let food control you. Don't let food control your emotions. Do not let food control how you feel about yourself or your food choices. So for me, used to, let's say if I'd binge eaten, the rest of the day I hated myself. Like, food controlled my entire life. So like, if I felt as though I'd made a bad food choice, I thought that I was an awful human being and I deserve to feel like crap about myself. And no, that is not true. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And the more emphasis and the more importance you place on food and your food choices, the more you're going to obsess over it. So whenever I stopped letting food hold that much value in my life, stopped letting it be so important, is whenever I was able to stop letting it control how I felt about myself. Because like, you don't want to be 50 years old going out to eat with your kids' graduation and y'all are going out to eat and you're literally sitting there and you don't want a piece of cake because you're scared of it. A bad person is not somebody that eats a piece of cake. A bad person is somebody that does wrong to others. You're not doing wrong to others by eating a piece of cake. Now, this is whenever we learn moderation and all of that, but everything in life is good in moderation. Like work is good in moderation. Too much of a good thing is a bad thing. We all know this. You can't just not work all the time, you know? You need to work, but you can't just overwork because that's also not healthy. And that's why there's a balance. There's balance of everything in life. Like Aristotle talks about that. It's not just about food. It's about every area of life. And for me, once I found that, I felt much better. Do I feel amazing all the time? No, but that's okay. I feel better than I used to. So yeah, stop letting food control your emotions. It should not have that much power over you, and you are giving it that much power. I know that it doesn't feel like that, but you are. The next thing that helped me was eating food for how it made me feel versus what I thought I should be eating. A lot in the fitness community, it's like, eat these foods, don't eat these foods. And I was eating these foods that made me feel like crap, but I thought that it's what I should be eating. Like, I don't really eat oatmeal that much anymore because it never made me feel good. Like, it always made me feel heavy and just nasty. And I don't have to eat that. I don't have to eat oatmeal. Just because everybody else is, or just because like they say that's one of the healthiest foods for you, I don't have to eat that. I started eating things that made me feel good. And once I started doing that versus like focusing on the calories or focusing what was the lowest calorie or the most nutritious, once I just started eating the foods that made me feel and perform my best, that's whenever just making food choices became so much easier. Because it was like, okay, I know this food makes me feel nasty. I know this food hurts my stomach. I know this food, And once you start analyzing your food in that way, analyzing your food choices in a way, make yourself feel good. That is literally the purpose of food, to give yourself energy and to make your body feel good. And honestly, that was one of the biggest changes that I made. Switching my focus from calories to the way it made me feel. And the next one is try to start focusing on your hunger cues and become more mindful of those. So for me, whenever food was basically my whole life, I waited and lived for the next time I could eat. I would be eating and then be sad that I couldn't eat anymore, that I had to wait to eat again. And that is such a sad way to live. First of all, you can eat whenever you want. So switching that for me was a big thing because I would get done like eating breakfast. We'll use that as an example. And be like, oh my gosh, I still have 3 hours till I can eat again. But like, no, you can go have a second if you want. You can go have something else if you're still hungry. And I started doing that. And actually what that led me to stop doing was overeating at nighttime, because I was actually full in the morning, which I know a lot of people have the issue with wanting to hold on to that morning skinny, which is so toxic because like your favorite fitness influencers don't have a flat stomach all the time. Like right now, I do not. I'm bloated. I ate breakfast. I ate a chicken, cheese, and egg omelet with some apples and a yogurt bowl on the side, and I'm bloated. But used to, it would take me like 3 extra yogurt bowls to be full. And now it doesn't because I finally was able to figure out my hunger cues and also not feel as though I had to wait 3 hours to eat again. I can eat whenever I want, okay? You're gonna figure out how much food makes you feel good or bad, and you're not gonna wanna eat all the time. Slowly, that's what I learned, but it takes time. And also it takes loving yourself enough to want to get to that space, because you can't get to that space if you don't want to. And if you don't want to truly heal your relationship with food. And I know a lot of people say that there is no such thing as a relationship with food, but I believe that there is, and you can negate me on that if you want. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to make a long video that's drawn out, that doesn't need to be. Because honestly, it's exhausting. Letting food control your entire life is extremely exhausting and tiring, and you don't really know what to do because you can't really think about anything else but food. It just takes away from the value of the rest of your life. So, if you found any value from this, please let me know in the comments, and please give it a little thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys more than you know that you're beautiful, you're worthy, and you're not a bad person. I'll talk to you guys later. Stay buff and bubbly.